Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for our virtual conference of Identity and Data Security in Modern FinTech Organizations. Firstly, we would like to thank all our partners and everyone who supported us. Also, we are excited to welcome participants from all continents. The banking sector is changing faster than ever before. In the age of digital transformation, banks are facing constant pressure. How can they protect their system from increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks? How to satisfy customers who demand fast and seamless services without compromising security? And why is cryptography the right way? 4 experts are going to answer these questions. My name is Klara Chlut, and I work in marketing for Monet Plus. And for today, I am going to be your moderator. Before introducing our first speaker, let me give you some brief information about the event. During the conference, you will be able to ask us questions in the chat. Some of them we will try to answer during the conference. We have also posted a simple questionnaire in the chat, and it would be great if you could fill it in. The recording of our conference will be available on our website in a few days and will be also emailed to all registered participants. Let's start with the first topic, which is regulations and new trends in the fintech world, such as regulations and standards. Let me introduce you our first guest, my colleague Václav Mladěnka from Monet Plus, an expert on customer identity. Hi, Václav, and welcome.
Hi, Klara.
It's all yours.
Thanks for a beautiful introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome on the event, and thanks for joining us online today. We do have in plan few very interesting, mainly technical topics today. But before we start with the technical discussion, it's maybe worth to stop a bit and maybe have a bigger picture on what's happening in the market, what's happening in the region, and what is impacting heavily of things we do and we need to do every day. And maybe especially here in Europe, and the regulation that is impacting the financial sector, fintech, banks, insurance companies, all of them, it's very, very highly covering and impacting the things that we do. I mean, we have a number of topics that we need to deal with when we speaking about cybersecurity. We want to serve online our customers, so we need to think about how we onboard them to the online services. Because we are a very regulated industry, we need to go through the AML procedures. On the one hand, we need to fulfill the regulation standards, and on the other hand, make it for the customers secure, convenient, and just the process make it happen. So this is something we need to take into account. DORA is a big topic on the financial segment, and a brother of NIS2, how the organization will manage their cybersecurity risk, what measures they need to adopt to make these things work and how to be resistant to the cybersecurity threats that we are facing in today's world. ADAS is coming. The regulation standards and the transpositions will be set into the technical reference guides, and this is impacting all we do. Digital identification, how is trusted online services regulated, what can we adopt based, for example, and how is impacted electronic signatures. Very, very important as well. And mainly in finance and payments industry, and also the Payment Service Directive that's impacting and giving us the requirements on strong customer authentication, for example, is giving the requirements on how third parties can consume financial services. So number of topics. This is just a brief, only a high-level overview of what's happening. And then on the other hand, we have the customers, we have the end users that need to be able to work with the digital services, that work with the information systems, and they need to get used to it, and with the all happening changes, it's very, very complicated. So today discussion will be mainly focused on some of the ideas, topics, maybe best practices, how we can help organizations to adopt regulation, what we can do to support best online customer and maybe employee services. And what's maybe good to think about when you thinking about some changes. Maybe a few things. I didn't want it really to speak about technology, but I had to. I had to at least pick up two that are very, very relevant. And one of the technology that is heavily impacting the market, and it does provide a big opportunity and this big concern is artificial intelligence. And what we see, it can help us quite a lot with large data, with predictive analysis. But on the other hand, it's representing a big threat to what we see in the cyberspace. And the other one big technology and topic and change is a post-quantum cryptography. It's slowly happening. It's somewhere in the background, but it will impact us very soon. And we really suggest you better be prepared than surprised. So just it's good to follow these topics and have them in mind. So that's for a very brief introduction, and I'm maybe giving back my words to Clara.
Thank you. All right. So thank you, Václav, for the quick introduction. And we are going to prepare a new guest. So if you could please give us 2 minutes. Thank you. Let's move to our second guest, my colleague from Monet Plus, Jiří Změlík. Jiří will tell us more about current needs related to employee security that modern organizations are facing. Also, how to streamline these solutions to fit both the people as well as the organization's security needs. Hi, Jiří, and welcome.
Hello, thank you.
It's all yours.
So hello everybody, good afternoon. My name is Jiří Změlík, and my task here today is to talk about secure digital identities in organizations and the challenges that come along with it. So let's jump into it. So first of all, let's have a look at some simple graphics that are describing the typical ecosystem of security solutions that modern organizations are having. You can see it is compiling of different kinds of firewalls. There are different solutions for secure remote access to company data. There are some platforms for real-time monitoring of the events and so on. So overall, this is a part that most of the modern companies have kind of well maintained. However, based on our more than 15 years of experience and hundreds of companies we're talking to, we identified that there is a rather small part of the company that is not given that much of a focus on one side, and also is very fragile, very vulnerable. And that part is the employee. So there is a bit of a disturbing graphics that says that out of the, and that is important, successful hacking attacks, they are caused by a single thing, and that single thing is a broken identity, so compromised logins or weak passwords. So one could say that the number is maybe a little bit over-exaggerated. On the other hand, there are other types of cyber attacks that have a more public exposure, such as phishing, for example. But what is the typical outcome of a phishing attack? It is the result that the touched person will give away some part of a private data or some login data to the attacker. So it actually is also an identity breach. So then we have an employee in this organization that is not in a very nice situation. On one side, there are many, and I mean really a lot of different use cases that these employees are required to fulfill in a secure way. We tell them to behave responsibly. But on the other hand, with this increasing amount of use cases, they also have increasing amount of ways how to deal with it. So the typical state of mind of an employee is that they are disturbed or sometimes even angry about being forced to do these kind of actions using different kinds of tools. So what is the way out of it? We believe it is a combination of two main aspects. One of them, it is the solution must be secure. It definitely must be very secure in order to fulfill the administrative requirements. On the other hand, if it is not user-friendly, then the employees will be pretty much doing whatever they can in order to misbehave or just work their way around this thing, and they are, in this case, quite likely to end up with all their passwords written under the keyboard. So we would like to be, and we believe we are, in the middle of this. Then if we look at it from a different person's view, and now I mean a person that is in charge of fulfilling this kind of security. So typically it's going to be a CISO, it's going to be a CTO, IT security manager, sometimes even a CEO of the company. They have to look at this challenge from multiple points of view. First of them is to somehow optimize the whole problem, because it is consisting of multiple different layers. Secondly, they, of course, are facing some legislation challenges, and it is going to be GDPR, NIS2, DORA, and I think these topics have been covered quite a lot, and everybody is aware of it. So, but they are here, and they tell us, or they tell the companies to, by law, implement some security implementations. The next thing is to deal with different kinds of identities that are present in the company. Like, I believe that the standard picture that there has used to be here like 10 years ago is already long gone. Today we have people going into the offices every single day, sitting in front of the same computers. But then we also have another group of regular employees that go and work partly from home, partly from company hubs where they don't have a dedicated place for sitting. They just come wherever there's place. We have people that work for the company completely remotely. We have people that work for the company as freelancers or contractors or consultants. And also we have people that work for a totally different company, but still being involved a lot into the delivery chain of whatever we are passing on forward. And all those identities are involved in our security perimeter, and they should be also counted within the group of users. The next thing is most of the modern fintech and banking companies are running a lot of important information systems and some applications that are critical for secure running of the organization, even in the event of some kind of emergency situation like complete lack of internet and so on. And the last thing is to wisely choose the suitable deployment of the solution, and also it is great to know that you can rely on a great support, preferably 24/7. Or to know that everything or part of it should be or is required to be deployed within the company premises. Something could be deployed as on a subscription base, and maybe in some cases there are needs that that we can combine these solutions in a bit of a hybrid mode. So there are a lot of things that those key people have to look on when they are trying to sort out the employee identity as a whole. How we look at it is that it is covering three main areas. The first one is to be able to securely logging into different kinds of systems and applications that are coming along with in the employee's daily routine day. Second of all, it is the ability to electronically sign different kinds of documents in different kinds of applications, but maintaining the validity of the signature by providing technologies all the way up to the qualified electronic signing or eventually sealing. And the last area is the physical access and device control, so how the person is behaving within the company, so the physical security and all the use cases that come along with it. And last but not least, if we have a company that is employing hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of employees, it is necessary to have some sort of a unified management that will be able to cover all the identities, all their tools they will be using, and in the event of use of the certificates, also this. So to be able to maintain everyone, automate all the processes, and just make sure that there is no space for any mistakes. This is exactly what our ProID solution offers. It is, as you can see, a single-roofed solution that is completely designed and developed by us, by Monet Plus company. It is something that's been on the market for over 15 years, and there is every day more than 170,000 people that rely on our solution on a daily basis. We serve many different verticals. Doesn't matter if it's healthcare or fintech and telco that we talk about today. We have many successful implementations in small or large governmental organizations, and also critical infrastructure and manufacturing are two very important verticals for us. But as you could see on the previous slide, there's 180 companies that are using our services, and of course the number is still growing. So now let's have a look at the daily routine, again from someone else's eyes, and that's the standard employee, to see what everything has to be covered. So first of all, when we speak about the secure logging, it is definitely logging into the workstation. It is secure access to data via different kinds of VPNs or remote desktops. There are potentially dozens of applications that all of those organizations are using. Most of them would use Microsoft 365 or Gmail. Many will be using communicating applications such as Slack or some other. And then also there will be potentially some custom-made applications that, for example, a bank has designed just for itself or had it completely developed privately by someone. And we can also integrate all those applications into the daily routine group of use cases. Last but not least, there are some admin applications that are typically not used by so many users, but of course they are those critical applications for secure running of the organization. So we have a very wide variety of those already integrated, and of course it is possible to integrate more. So you can already see there's a lot of use cases only so far, and of course there's more coming. When we speak about the physical security, it is everything related to the movement within the company, being able to enter doors or not being able to enter the doors, being able to, for example, securely print some sensitive documents, and also using employee's identity just into some simple use cases like to get lunch. Last but not least, as I mentioned, the ability of being electronically signing documents is key, especially in the financial sector, where I think this is something that's been done on a regular basis many times a day. And it doesn't really have to apply only to PDF documents, and it doesn't only have to be signed locally. You can also sign it remotely with smartphones and tablets, and of course this signing solution is able to be integrated into just that layer that you need in the company. So if it's meant to be done in the email account, it is possible. If it's meant to be done in special applications for signing and providing loans to end customers, it is also possible. It really depends on the requirements. So you can see a lot of things that the employee has to be able to perform securely. And the nowadays situation is that even if there is a company that is trying to have this all sorted out by on a good level, they are very likely to end up with multiple tools and technologies to do so. So first of all, they'll probably have some kind of a employee badge that will show a picture of myself, that I'm who I am, and I'll be able to enter the company and maybe get lunch. But then they will be using different tools for electronically signing documents, and for all those multi-factor, for all those secure logging elements, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of passwords. There's going to be probably some rewriting of SMS codes or confirming links in emails. But now we get to the employee that ends up with so many things and being confused and feeling like everything is just slowing them down. So we like to step in at this very moment and offer a single tool that will be able to cover everything, potentially replacing, let's say, the employee badge that they already have in their pockets, and just be able to securely maintain everything you see right now on this slide. Those tools that I mentioned, we have available 3. One of them is a smart card, so something easily known to everyone. There's also an option of a smartphone application, and there's another option of a USB hardware token that also can be accompanied by a smartphone app. You can probably see that all those options have their pros and cons, but this is the main idea, because of course also in a big company there are different needs and different requirements from different working groups. So we believe what is really a strong point of ProID is to be able to offer a variety of employee tools that are able to satisfy very different kinds of the needs. A good thing is that a single person is able to use multiple tools, and of course all the tools can be anyhow combined in a single company. So if we just very briefly look at it, first of all is the smart card. It is still the most used, still the most preferred way of securing an employee identity. Basically what we do, we are in cooperation with the majority of the world leaders in the contactless technologies. So typically the biggest question, or the first question asked, is like, would we have to change the readers and some technology in the company? And the answer is no. What we can do, we can just deliver fully set cards that will completely match to your needs, and will be able to satisfy exactly the use cases that you need to. Secondly, it is the smartphone app, so something that is suitable for both Android and iOS phones, also suitable for Huawei phones. It is, let's say, the new technology that is now very well accepted by especially the young employees. It is able to be run completely in a software as a service mode, and it will allow you to also log in to pretty much everything you need to, but it has some really great features on top of it. First of them is that there is a security layer integrated within that is constantly monitoring the behavior of the application as well as the phone, making sure that the phone is not jailbreaked, the biometrics works fine, and some, let's say, other 8 different security perspectives. If something suspicious is going on, it would inform the user and the admin about some action needs to be taken. The next great thing is that we can now emulate a contactless chip into our app, so your phone can actually behave like a smart card, so you can use your phone and our ProID mobile app to open doors, to securely print, and to get your lunch. And the best thing on top of it, that wherever this is technologically possible, we like to emphasize the use of the passwordless principle. So there are no passwords whatsoever. The user doesn't have to type in anything, and simply with the use of biometrics, so Face ID or fingerprint, they're able to very seamlessly log in into anything they need to. They can also sign with it, again, in a passwordless way, all the way up to the qualified electronic signature. It's all possible with just one single app. The last option is Bitron, which is our own product. It is a USB hardware token, but basically what it is a new generation of a smart card, because once plugged into the computer, it behaves like a smart card. It is also able to help you out with signatures and with logins, but it has some very cool features as well that, for example, it is compliant with the FIDO principle technology. So if this is what you need, we also have a tool that is able to cover these needs. And on top of it, as I said, it can be also accompanied with a smartphone app. That means that every single time there is some interaction needed, the user will not be asked to put in some password or PIN number, but they can receive a push notification, and simply with the biometrics in a flash, they're able to fulfill this requirement. So the last slide is about the management platform, which is completely modular and is designed to suit your needs again. And in a very nutshell, what this can do is to automate most of the processes that will be connected with the life cycle of the certificates, with onboarding, offboarding new employees, and depending on those applications, there are, let's say, some simple things that, for example, the standard employee can do. But what is great that by this we promise to absolutely minimize the interaction between the employee and the company service support that will not be asked for very easy things to be done, because we've got some very interactive and user-friendly wizards that will walk the people through those use cases. So a complex management platform that is able to help running of everything smoothly and seamlessly. So this is what ProID is, this is what ProID does. I'll be very happy to accommodate any of your requests or questions, or requests for deployment of some proof of concepts. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm passing my word back to Clara.
Thank you, Jiří. Thanks for your presentation. I have a question for you. I would like to ask you, what does the employee need to do in case their smart card gets broken or smartphone gets lost?
Yeah, thank you. This is one of those things that we're being asked very frequently. And it is also touching one of the slides where I was able to show those 3 tools that we have. So, of course, there is, based on the company principles, they can be contacted by admins, and there are many ways how to solve it. But the most seamless way is to use multiple tools. So if I lose my smart card, I'm quite likely to still have my smartphone with me, or if I damage my smartphone, I can still use my smart card or Bitron. So this is, I would say, the easiest way how to make sure that I will never lose the ability to securely log in and sign and move within the company.
All right, great. So thank you once again. And now we are going to prepare our third guest, so please give us 2 minutes. Our next guest will talk about rise digital fraud, consumer concerns, and the growing adoption of AI-enhanced biometric security. Let me welcome our third guest, Enrique Caballero from Ever. Enrique is an expert in business development, digital identity, and biometrics. Hi, Enrique.
Oh, hi. Thank you for having me.
We are so happy that you are here with us.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So thank you for having me here. Very happy to be here. I'm going to talk about how the biometrics is redefining the customer onboarding. So I'm going to talk about AI, I'm going to talk about digital onboarding, biometrics, and I'm going to bring you across the different threats that we are facing in the current biometric market, starting from the AI, right? The AI-created images. So there is a big threat now. It's a big industry, the AI-created images. So it's a $1 trillion industry. It's a massive industry. So it's around 1 billion of AI-created images that you already have online. And this is growing by 6 million every day. So imagine, so this is the next big thing after the internet, believe me. So in a way, this is great because, you know, all these different companies like Midjourney, Adobe, they've been growing. But on the other hand, it's a big threat for the onboarding and the digital identity industry. But let's start from the beginning, right? So what is a deepfake? So everyone is talking about deepfakes nowadays, but what is a deepfake? So deepfake is when you are using a face or a voice, and then you are trying to impersonate someone else, right? So this is the definition of deepfake. You are superimposing someone else's images in order to recreate something that is not real. So there are plenty of examples out there. So you may have seen a lot of deepfakes from Donald Trump, from Morgan Freeman as well. Plenty of actors, right, that they are having the deepfakes. But the most popular one nowadays is Tom Cruise. There is a very funny channel from Tom Cruise that has been created by a company called Metaphysics AI, where they have around 5 million subscribers. They have 5 million in TikTok, and they are growing. So what this deepfake is doing, so they are creating using the face of Tom Cruise, going in a really funny way, right? So they go to the beach and they talk about different things. But the most important and the most critical thing is that they are creating this very hyper-realistic deepfake from a person which is not a real, right? So even they asked Tom Cruise if he knows that they know about this deepfake created by him, and he just laughed, right? But he is not real. But if you go to Metaphysics AI, he's going to see all the potential. This is on the funny way, right? But this is scary as well and very concerning from the biometrics and the digital onboarding perspective. But now it's going more complicated. So we are talking, we start talking about images that has been created using AI. The second one is the deepfakes, but now you have the generative AI. What is generative AI? It's an AI capable of generating text and images or videos or other type of data using artificial intelligence. Right? So in this case, you don't need to have any person as a base. You don't need to have any photograph, because what happens is that the AI is generating all these different type of models that if you see a video, for instance, you're going to say, wow, this is a real video, it's a deep fake, but it's not a deep fake, it's something else. It's very scary, very concerning nowadays, right? One of the examples is, for instance, there is a company called the Door Brothers. If you go into the website, you're going to see all the potential of this. Basically, they are creating the Door Brothers is an AI or visual studio that they are creating commercials, they are creating videos, but also they are creating music. So
they went viral in the last year. They have around 50 million of viewers on the different websites, the different platforms, TikTok, YouTube, their own website, and they become a buzz in the US that they've been invited to participate into the national news. It's impacting. So what I can say, the video that they are showing is totally impacting. So they are creating, for instance, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, but they really look real, like a real person. And they are, it's really funny, but at the same time it's scary because you see all the potential of what is happening with generative AI, right? So this is very concerning from everyone in the biometric and the digital identity industry. So Microsoft, they run a survey, and they ask to around 1,000 people what they are more concerned about the AI, right? And they say 87% of the people, they respond that they are really concerned about AI and everything related to deepfakes and generative AI. And most of the people, they are really concerned about the AI scams. This is the number one. The number two is the deepfakes. They are really concerned about deepfakes, right? So in general, all the people, they know about these deepfakes and they are really concerned. But also, the people, they are really concerned about the racial bias that the AI is able to create, right? Because it's an algorithm that is being trained using different data, but they are really concerned that this data is not able to incorporate all the different demographics of the people, right? So this is one of the big concerns about the industry as well within the AI. Then another big organization, Deloitte, and they run also another survey, and then they ask to all the different executives from 1,000 companies, exactly 1,000 companies, they ask if they expect what is going to be the biggest concern within the next 12 months, if whether or not they're going to be attacked by any of the deepfakes or the generative AI that they are happening now, all different attacks. So they ask the people, and 51%, they are really concerned about this. So they say, yes, we expect that we're going to be attacked within the next 12 months about this type of threat, right? So it's very concerning from the industry. The second question that they ask, so what is going to happen if you are attacked by deepfakes or AI? So what is going to happen? What is going to be the impact that you're going to have within the industry? And then they say that they're going to lose trust. So this is really concerning, right? So if they are not acting now, if they've been attacked by the different AI deepfakes or any kind of impersonation attack, they're going to lose trust, right? But not only within the end customers, also within the different stakeholders, all the investors. So they are really considering this like a big threat because they're going to, if they are attacked, the consequences are going to be catastrophic, right? So this is the scenario. But what we are doing in order to help the industry, in general the industry, in order to be better, in order to protect when everything is going through for the digital onboarding with biometrics. So there are different things that are happening now. So one is to create the standards, the other is to create the rules, and also to go through the regulation. So we need to incorporate the three of them in order to be sure that we are having all the bases in order to be able to cope with all these different threats, right? So the first one, that is the most important one, we already create the standards. We are working with the ISO, so creating all the different standards for the biometric presentation attacks. This is how it's called, right? When you are trying to get access into the digital onboarding when a person is not real, so this is a presentation attack. The bases are there already. We have the ISO standard. The next one is to have the test. So we have the standard, but who is going to perform the test? So the big organization that is performing the test is the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the US, aka NIST. They are performing this test. So last year in September, they verified 82 different participants from different algorithms, and then verify how good they are performing against these digital and physical attacks. Because it's not only digital, there are also physical attacks when you are wearing masks, when you are using paper mask as well. So they qualify 82 participants, and they say, okay, you are performing good in the digital attacks, or you are performing good on the physical attacks, or on both. But also they are looking into the racial bias. So they are qualifying how good or how not really good the companies are performing against racial bias, because this is another big concern from the digital onboarding, right? One example, for instance, you want to onboard a person, but you don't have the data be trained in your algorithm for this specific demographic, you're going to have a lot of rejections. So the people, they are not going to be able to get access to this account because the algorithm simply doesn't recognize the color of the skin. So this is a big concern as well, right? And the third one, and the biggest picture, is the regulation. In Europe, locally, we are creating all the different EU Act related to artificial intelligence, and this is creating all the basis and all the common framework for Europe in order to be able and to put all the different rules against AI, how you need to create AI, how you're going to create the algorithms, etc. But this is becoming global, so different geographical locations, they are also taking into consideration the EU AI Act in order to incorporate this. The US, the UK, Australia as well, all these different countries are taking some of this to be incorporated as well as part of the whole framework that they are creating. So what is going to be the takeaway from here to everyone? So we just need to be prepared. That's the only thing that we need to do it. Be prepared, because this is going to happen sooner or later, right? So the guys are working there. We are saying AI against AI, so this is what we are doing here. So some of the checklists that you can do in order to be sure that that your system is able to be compliant with the regulation and to be compliant against all these different type of attacks is you need to do the checklist, right, for biometrics and customer onboarding. So first of all, you need to check if your partner is already participant of the NIST, or not, the National Institute of Standards. The second one is you need to check how good they are performing into the liveness performance. There are different ranks, so you need to be sure that the company that you are working with, they are the best in class in the liveness, because it's going to help you to be protected against deepfakes. And the other one is, deepfake is not the only attack that is happening there, right? There are other attacks. There are something that is called injection attacks. There are others that are called impersonation attacks. Plenty of different attacks happening when you are trying to do the digital onboarding. So you need to be sure that your company is protecting you against all these type of attacks. And last but not least, very important, racial bias. How the company that you are using for digital onboarding and biometrics is performing against racial bias. This is really important as well.
All right. Thank you. Enrique, I have a question for you. What do you think is the main threat in the current digital identity and biometrics for customer onboarding?
Yeah, so in my point of view, the main threat against digital identity and the digital onboarding specifically are the deepfakes. Deepfakes are something that is very easy and very cheap to do nowadays. I'm not a technical expert, and trust me that I was able to do my deepfake using a Donald Trump template in 5 minutes. So this is so simple to do nowadays. You don't need to spend a lot of things. You don't need to be a technical expert in order to be able to create a deepfake. So this, for me, is the biggest threat in the current biometric and the digital onboarding market.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I have another question. Which countermeasures are being taken by the industry in general to minimize these risks?
Cool. So this is related to what I was presenting just at the end. So there are three things that are happening now. So one is, for instance, that you are creating all the bases with the standards. So this is step number one. Step number two, who is going to test these standards and how accurate are these standards to be tested? So it's like a race, right? So you can create the standards, but you need to be sure that these are up to date, in order to be sure that is able to cope against all these different attacks that they are happening now. And the biggest picture is the framework, how the different countries or geographical regions are working all together in order to be able to cope against all these different threats on time. Because sometimes this is what is happening. So the regulation is too slow, but what is happening on the market is very quick. But what I see nowadays in the digital identity and onboarding is that at least the European Union, they are acting fast against all of this because this is a very big threat.
All right, thank you. So the first part of our conference is over and it's time for a short break. We will be back in 10 minutes, and after break we go further with the topic European Digital Identity Wallets, Practical Guide for Banking and FinTech. So see you then. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in our virtual conference, and let's move further to our next topic, European Digital Identity Wallet. And also, I want to welcome back once again my colleague, Václav Matinka.
Hello.
Hi, Vasek.
Hi, Clara.
So, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. So, maybe a little bit jump into what we see in the coming one of the topic that is on the agenda, which is the identity wallet, and especially the European identity wallet. This is something that will come in near future. It will impact all the digital market. We need to somehow adopt it. Maybe as part of my presentation, I will just try to give you some hints and tips, and maybe try to convince you why it's good to consider identity federation as a good concept for online services, customer online services. Maybe one just stop by and thinking about our customers' expectations. We're talking about digital services, online services. We want to be very digital. Maybe we don't want to be digital too much, but really what we can agree is we want to avoid customer bad experience, avoiding wasted time, avoided unnecessary transports, travel, waiting in queues. That's something really we don't want to. We want to enable our customers something that they are used to it. And based on our surveys across the customers and users, what we can see is that there is a strong preference on using mobile devices among users. Also, a big preference on using biometrics if these are available on those devices. Then if these are available, why not using it? Because it's very very natural. On the other hand, there is also strong concern of the users and customers about on the potential cyber threats and potential theft on identities and stuff like that. So these are some basic prerequisites that we need to take into account, but these not the only one. Maybe if we have a look on the online services, maybe just to give a view on few priorities that you may wish to consider while reviewing your online services and online channels, why it's good to look at and to think about it. Maybe if we have a look on the current customer base and the customer experience that we are delivering, it's very important to focus on user experience as it is. Maybe also especially if we have a service that is serving large number of users, millions and bigger amounts, it's really good to focus on performance, that there is no waste time of the users, and also the availability and stability of the services. One good examples that that we see is really to have a look on it. Maybe if you have more online services, it's probably a bad example to force our customers to use different login forms, not speaking about using the passwords and username in one form. It's just, we don't want to confuse the users. We want them and support them in using more services that we serve. So this is a very good idea to serve it in one login. And if they want to access new service, then simply use the single sign-on principles. Just start with the strong customer authentication at the beginning. If the user is happy to use the mobile device with the biometric, well, let's enable it. Let's forget about passwords. If the user doesn't prefer to use the mobile devices, simply use a potential hardware alternatives. There are plenty on the market. So really think about it, consider it. Think about one login for all your digital apps. It pays off. There are strong and significant benefits. because in the day-to-day interactions, the customer will appreciate that. But before the customer will use our services, we need to go through the onboarding procedures. We want to support new customers to join our online services, to switch to the channels that we delivering, that we providing. Again, we need to focus on the user experience, but we need to also think about the regulation compliance context that is behind that. In terms of the custom onboarding scenarios, I mean, we have many options. These need to be AML compliant, but sometimes we don't need it. For certain level of services, simple non-AML scenarios are also relevant. But what we should think about is whether these are web or mobile, or whether they are web and mobile, because users prefer the mobile devices, but for some cases, maybe the web and the desktop native interaction is preferred. And again, if we can operate a platform that is enabling all these relevant alternatives that can cover mobile devices, web, desktop, that can provide a variety and combination of simple and AML compliant onboarding scenarios, this will be much appreciated. We have some non-AML procedures that are basic email and phone verification that we can use simple forms and codes. We can even combine that with the social network login to get some additional data from the customer. Maybe in some stage of the interaction with the customer, we need some additional information. If the identity document is available to OCR it, could be considered in some countries also as an AML procedure. But why should we scan it? Why don't we are in the 21st century? So maybe we just simply want to use the near-filed communication, and because these new documents provide also the wireless functionality and contactless functionality, so we can simply use the mobile devices to get the data out of the identity card, and it's much better quality and additional data also available here. Maybe in some stage we want to combine it with the face biometric verification. This is again another step into the puzzle to make sure that we have identity verification procedures, and we are speaking to the person that is pretend to be. All of these scenarios require some action of the customer, something to do. It's good to combine them for certain use cases, but maybe there are some also alternatives that using one click we can get some additional data. We can use third-party identity providers, simply use some service that provides custom identity data on 1 or 2 clicks. It's much more user convenient. It's much more accurate on the data interaction. So this is something that's available on the market as well. So definitely it's worth considering it. And with the government activities, there are more and more projects, and will become, especially with the European digital wallet, that we can simply have the data with the attestation and the assurance and of the government, of the issuing body of the identity scam. Again, simple, one login, one click, and I can get my identity verified in a AML relevant procedure. Another consideration that is worth mentioning is it's about how to manage risk and compliance in the online interaction and channels. And I already spoke on that on the beginning, so I really maybe don't want to go too much into the details. The number of regulations that are impacting it. It's worth considering a solution platform that is supporting these regulations and standards to make you relevant in this area. Another concern in building all online services and investing in these online channels is how to manage our costs. Usually there are costs associated in creation or a change of a digital channel, and there are costs associated to the operation and the run and then the overall life cycle of the platforms. So again, identity federation schemes can help you and support you in a number of areas. Because what we've seen historically when creating digital products and digital platforms, usually we tend to build the security inside the online application or the channel. This, however, proved to be quite expensive and difficult to manage. So with the federation, identity federation concepts, we're trying to outsource the functions of identity onboarding, identity authentication, authorization, signing to a product that is covered by the identity, and the other business applications, let them focus on the business proposition, the business value, not care too much about the regulation compliance, not care too much about security. They simply outsource it to the digital identity. So that way we can build the security, build the compliance. Again, next to it, we can build the product proposition and then the value. So that's something that identity federation concepts in online channels are helping us quite a lot. And with the additional value of them is also because they are built on standards, we can simply use them to support their interaction with the government services that are, again, built on top of the identity federation concepts, and or with third parties. Again, we may wish to provide some additional value to our customers, to provide some partner program with some another third-party organization. So why don't we enable it that from my internet banking application I can simply use one link and get logged into the telco operator offer portal. So that's something that is working and working pretty well as well. So this proven to be valid and relevant and technology patterns that are bringing value to the end users. And on the other hand, they're bringing the value also to the organizations that are operating these services. And if we are talking about the identity wallet that is coming, again, the wallet will provide features, and we can again use them as a authentication method to access the online services, and it will be under the Identity Federation umbrella, the digital identity umbrella. It's just one method to be integrated. As we have the mobile phone, as we have the hardware token, we can simply add the identity wallet. By the way, I do have a brief intro about what is available currently on the European Identity Wallet reference app. So if you haven't tried it already, you can Google it. The application is available. You can download it. There's an SDK is available, so you can try it. Simply, what's the out-of-the-box functionality the application is just now offering is the authentication to the application. There is a simple onboarding process. You can simply log into the application, and you can either use the one of the connected national schemes. Currently, there are only a few of them. I was very happily surprised, but there is Czech is one of them that is included. So you may wish to try to add your ID into the wallet, or you can simply use the sample data. This is something you can just try just now, and maybe we'll give you a simple idea how the coming identity wallets may look like, what kind of functionality they may wish to provide. Maybe in brief summary, I believe there are three relevant and important scenarios that we should think about with the identity wallet. The first one is use the wallet as an onboarding method. I do have a wallet. I do have my verified identity with it, so I can simply use it as to get new saving accounts with a new bank that I decided to, and very convenient online process. Second, relevant and very important, you as a service provider needs to accept identity wallet as an authentication or authorization method. So just really think about it as one method in the whole of your portfolio of authentication methods in your online channels. But it's good to have that alternative, because if my primary method with, for example, authentication method is my mobile device, for some reason lost my mobile device, then probably will need to go through some recovery procedure. Maybe with the identity wallet, this could be much easier. And third, very relevant functionality is identity wallet as a qualified electronic signature method. So identity wallet is supposed to enable electronic signing. So this is also very relevant in these online interactions. Although it may not cover all of the potential use cases that you will face, it may support the switch towards digital interactions. And maybe a summary of who will be impacted and how will be impacted by the wallet. Well, in brief summary, service providers, essentially these are organizations that are from transport, energy, banking, financial services, number examples. You will need to support the identity wallet in your online services as minimum as an authentication method for the customers, especially when you are considered being a large platform. But there is bad news that, well, the penetration of the identity wallet among users, among citizens, is, well, it's depend on their adoption. It's not something that will happen instantly on the market. So although national countries will have to adopt and implement identity wallets within 2 years, I do not expect that the identity wallets will have big penetration in next 3 years. I mean, it will take some time, and what we've seen from the past, it may take some 3 to 5 years that these have some relevant penetration on the market. And maybe you are an organization that is considering to issue also your own wallets for some reason, or at least to issue some attestations for the wallets. So this is something you may also wish to consider. But just to maybe summarize it, think about your architectural landscape. Think about using identity wallet as an alternative, as an option, as something that is coming. I suggest think about identity federations as a concept that will support it, enable it, because if you start already with the slightly change of your IT, then adoption of the wallets will be very much easier for you as an organization in terms of processes, in terms of costs, in terms of time. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for the attention. In case you have any questions, I would be here to clarify more and let us know after the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Václav, for the presentation. I do have one question, actually.
Oh.
If I understand correctly, that Monet Plus offers a solution for identity federation, and how is it different from other solutions on the market?
Yes, we do. We do. We have a very big team and competence in identity federation concepts. We're pretty much working with that more than 10 years now. Maybe I would say that the major difference that we are focusing on financial services as a whole, because in terms of the identity federation, the basic scenario is authentication, but for the banking scenarios, authentication is not sufficient because it's important to have the customer into the online channel, but the banking and financial sector is about transactions, is about exchanging money. You need to implement measures on strong customer authentication. So we're focusing also not only the authentication, but also the authorization scenarios. You have documents that need to be signed. So again, this is something that is slightly different. And very important is also about the regulation, because the financial market as a whole is very, very regulated. So all the solution that is created, that is designed, developed, it needs to take into account the regulations that are impacting the market. So in summary, that's I would say how we differ.
All right. And one last question.
Mm-hmm.
What about open source alternatives?
Well, we see a number of open source alternatives as well on the market, but maybe we'll again mention what I said earlier. I mean, these can provide some basic functionality, or it can cover a number of functionality. But again, these are focusing mainly on the authentication scenarios, maybe connecting the apps. But if you are an organization that requires also authorization scenarios, that requires electronic signature, that requires more authentication, especially strong authentication methods to be implemented, then I suggest you look at some other alternatives as well. Although you can develop it on yourself on the open source, I mean the effort versus what's available currently with some proprietary solution may be even better.
Okay, all right. So thank you for your presentation once again, and for answers as well. And we are going to prepare our very last guest, so please give us 2 minutes. Our very last guest in our virtual conference is not here with us in presence, but online. I'm happy to welcome Willem de Labat from Barn Smart Solutions from South Africa. Willem will tell us more about EMV cards, data preparation, and the future of secure payments. Hi, Willem. We are happy that you're connected with us.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
So I'm Willem from Barn Smart Solutions.
Yeah, great. I give you, it's all yours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to discuss some key topics that are crucial to the future of financial security. So we'll start with the current state of EMV cards and their production, focusing on data preparation, which is vital for security and functionality. Then we'll explore the future of payments, the impact of quantum computing, and evolving cryptography standards. And finally, I'll touch on the industry's shortage of cryptography expertise and why fintechs need to invest in building that knowledge now. So, what are EMV cards and how do they work? So, EMV, which stands for Europay, MasterCard, and Visa, is the global standard for secure card transactions. So, although Europay no longer exists, the name stems from these organizations coming together to create this global standard for payment cards. So, as of the end of 2023, over 13.7 billion EMV cards have been issued globally, with 86% of all card-present transactions being processed using EMV technology. So the adoption of chip-based cards over your magnetic stripes marked a transformative shift in the payment security. So what makes EMV so powerful is its use of dynamic cryptography. So unlike magnetic stripe cards, which stores static data, EMV chips generates unique transaction cryptograms for each purpose, preventing fraudsters from easily replicating card data. So an EMV transaction involves the cardholder, the merchant, the acquiring bank, the issuing bank, and your card schemes. So when the cardholder makes a purchase, the EMV card is inserted or tapped, allowing the terminal to authenticate the card via an encrypted data exchange. And the merchant then sends this transaction to the acquiring bank, which then forwards it to the card network, which is your Visa or MasterCard, and then on to the issuing bank for approval. So if approved, the response travels back in the same way, authorizing the purchase. So afterward, the acquiring and issuing banks then settle the funds, ensuring a secure payments and data protection throughout this whole process. So this use of dynamic data has proven to be a major deterrent to card-present fraud, which has decreased significantly in the markets that have adopted EMV standards. So, for example, in the US, counterfeit fraud fell by 76% after the adoption of EMV. So, the EMV card production process, so now that we understand the transaction, we're looking at the production of these cards. So the process is actually quite intricate and involves multiple steps to ensure that every card issued is secure, functional, and compliant with international standards. So the production of EMV cards starts long before the card ever reaches your wallet. So it involves a number of parties. You get your card manufacturers, your personalization bureaus, your banks, your issuers, and everyone works together to produce a secure, reliable payment tool. So the process starts with the physical production of the card. So this includes embedding the microprocessor chip into the plastic card body. So the chip itself contains minimal data at this stage. It's waiting for the data preparation and personalization process, where it will be loaded with sensitive data. So the chip is like the heart of the EMV card and contains the necessary cryptographic capabilities to authenticate transactions. So the next step is data preparation. So before an EMV card can be used, it needs to be personalized with data that's unique to the card holder the issuing bank, and the transaction environments it will operate in. So this process, this data preparation process, involves 4 key steps. So first we have key generation. So each EMV card requires a set of cryptographic keys that are used to generate these cryptograms during transactions, authenticate the card, and secure the sensitive information on the card. Next, we have the cardholder data, so details like the cardholder's name, account number, expiration date, that must be securely loaded onto this chip. So unlike magnetic stripes, this information is actually encrypted, to prevent your unauthorized access. And then you get your personalization data, which defines things like transaction limits, whether the card supports contactless payments, and how it interacts with different terminals. And finally, you have your encryption and formatting, which shows that all this data is protected and formatted according to the bigger EMV standard, so the card is recognized and processed correctly by terminals around the world. This is actually where Barnes Smart Solution P3, the P3 software comes in, but I'll explain a bit more about that shortly. So once the data has been prepared, it's sent to a personalization bureau, so where it gets securely loaded onto that chip. So this is typically done in a highly secure environment to prevent, obviously, tampering or theft of the cardholder data. So once the chip is personalized with the cardholder's details, the cryptographic keys, certificates, and the specific transaction rules, the card can then be issued to a customer. And then after issuance, the card enters the hand of the cardholder, and the banks and issuers continue to manage these cards. So updating software, managing lost or stolen cards, and ensuring ongoing compliance with security standards. So before we move forward, I want to quickly explain the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption in EMV. You might already know this, just it's important to understand this concept for the rest of what we'll be discussing. So symmetric encryption uses the same key for both encryption and decryption, which makes it fast and efficient. And in EMV, symmetric keys are primarily used for data encryption during this card personalization process and for protecting sensitive transaction data, such as ensuring the integrity of data sent between the card and the terminal. And then your asymmetric encryption involves a pair of keys, so a public key and a private key, where one key is used for encryption and the other for decryption. So this is used during cardholder verification, authentication, to securely establish the identity of the card and the card issuer. So for example, a card might present and issue a public key certificate, and that the terminal verifies it using this asymmetric cryptography to ensure the authenticity of the card. So this process is crucial for preventing fraudulent cards from being used. So now I want to quickly focus on our data preparation tool P3, which stands for Personalization Preparation Process. So as the name suggests, P3 is a software solution which is designed to handle the preparation and encryption of data required for the personalization of a wide variety of card types and secure elements. So this includes your single-purpose and multi-application cards. So this is EMV payment cards, as we spoke about now. It can also be loyalty cards, reward cards. Then you get your secure elements, so your SEs for smartphones, which are the embedded chips used in contactless and mobile payments. And then also your remote secure elements for cloud-based virtual card systems. So that's often used in your digital wallets or virtual cards. So the P3 system is made up of 2 critical components. So it's the P3 software, which is the core of the system, which then communicates with something we call a hardware security module, or HSM, which provides this high security environment required for key generation, encryption, and secure storage. So I want to walk you through how P3 handles data preparation. So P3 receives personalized input data, known as the cardholder data, from the issuer's card management system. So this data includes sensitive information about the cardholder, their account number, personal details, and the specific configurations needed for the card. So then once the cardholder data enters the P3 system, cryptographic keys are generated using this HSM, this hardware security module. And then P3 can also generate certificate signing requests, which can then be sent to your certificate authorities like Visa or MasterCard, which will then send back the issuer certificate, which will eventually be used to authenticate the card and the issuer during this EMV transaction process, as we spoke about with the asymmetric encryption. So along with all these keys, certificates, and the data, this all gets stored into a secure issuer database on P3. So the data stored here is protected by a master key of sorts, which resides within this hardware security module. So this ensures that all keys and cryptographic data remains secure while being processed. And it also allows, card issuers to securely store the necessary certificates and keys for future card data preparation without needing to go through the entire process again. So P3 then uses parameter files to specify how this cardholder data and the keys and the certificates should be handled during the data preparation process. And then P3 also uses what we call an EMV file, which instructs P3 on how to store specific information under certain tags on the physical chip. So this is all according to EMV standards, as well as to the specific card application. So, for example, when a transaction is being made, the terminal, let's say, wants to check what's the card's expiration date. Because everything is in this EMV world, it knows under which specific tag in that chip to find the necessary information to authenticate the transaction. So all these files gets referenced into something we call a job file, and then P3 runs this job file, processing all this input data, and then generates a cardholder output file, which contains all the necessary encrypted data which the card personalization bureau can then personalize and put on the physical EMV chip. So, as you can imagine, the cryptography used in this step of the entire card production process and the EMV world is like the foundational layer of security for the entire payment infrastructure. So now that we have the basics covered, let's look at the future of secure payments. So as we look ahead, the payment landscape is evolving rapidly. By 2027, over 70% of all transactions are expected to be made electronically, with contactless payments and mobile wallets obviously leading the charge. And in fact, mobile payments alone are projected to reach $12 trillion by 2028, and contactless payments are expected to account for over 80% of card payments by 2030. So with this shift comes new challenges and opportunities. And as FinTech companies, it's essential to remain ahead of these trends and to ensure that your infrastructure is secure, scalable, and adaptable. While digital wallets and tokenized payments offer convenience, they also require enhanced cryptographic protections to remain secure in an increasingly complex threat landscape. So as we move away from the traditional plastic card, data preparation remains a critical part of the equation, whether a transaction is happening through a virtual card, in a digital wallet, a tokenized payment from a smartphone, or a cloud-based secure element. The need for secure and accurate data preparation is just as important, if not more so. So let me just explore why I say that. So in virtualized and tokenized payments, each transaction generates a unique token that replaces the actual card details, keeping the original information safe. So obviously secure data preparation is crucial here because firstly, it's a normally issued EMV card that gets loaded into a mobile phone or a virtual environment. And also, these tokens must be created using cryptographic keys to ensure they can't be reverse engineered to get to the original information. So this is what P3 already does. Then if you look at mobile payments using these secure elements, which can either be hardware chips or secure environments in the cloud to store the card data, these act like virtual EMV chips, so allowing secure contactless or in-app payments. So data preparation for these secure elements is just as important as for physical cards. Sharing the keys and the cardholder info and the transaction settings are securely handled. And again, this is something that P3 already addresses. Next, if you look at cloud-based virtual cards, they store payment credentials in the cloud instead of on a physical card or device. And they obviously offer some flexibility for one-time or recurring payments and reducing some risks. But again, proper data preparation is key to securely generating cryptographic keys and encrypting the card data, ensuring that the cloud-stored credentials are protected from unauthorized access. So whether it's a physical card or a digital payment, staying compliant with your standards like EMV, PCI DSS, and ISO IEC, it's critical. And P3 ensures that all data is encrypted and processed according to these industry standards, protecting both the issuers and the consumers. What we're essentially seeing is the most of the innovation in the payment market is happening on the side of companies processing payments for businesses on the acquirer side. So while the ways we make payments, like tap to pay, QR code scanning, or biometrics, it's rapidly evolving, the underlying structure of the payment process hasn't changed really. So the card scheme still involves the cardholder, the merchant, the issuing bank, the acquiring bank, with transactions, approvals, and communications between them following the same rules that has been in place for decades. So next, I would like to have a quick look at the impact that quantum computing will have on the payment industry. So quantum computing, is rapidly evolving, posing significant risk to current cryptographic methods that secure payment transactions, personal data, and cardholder information. So the primary vulnerability lies in asymmetric cryptography, as we spoke earlier, with algorithms like the RSA and ECC, which is commonly used for key exchanges, digital signatures, and securing the payment ecosystem. So there's an algorithm, a quantum computing algorithm called Shor's algorithm, which is said to be by 2030 able to break RSA and ECC efficiently enough that it's going to disrupt, the payment industry quite a bit. So although quantum computing is not mainstream yet, we've got some big players working on it, and it's crucial for fintech companies to start preparing now to secure payments from future quantum threats. So looking at some of the threats, first we see a great threat to public key encryption or asymmetric encryption. As I said, this includes your RSA and ECC algorithms, which, as I said, is critical for key exchanges and digital signatures in the payment industry. So an example of the impact can be it compromises the communication channels, allowing attackers to intercept some of the sensitive payment data. And there's also the risk of forging digital signatures used in these secure transactions, affecting obviously your card issuance and mobile payments, and possibly allowing attackers to create their own working cards. And then we also see quantum computing as a potentially compromising tokenization and digital wallets, because asymmetric cryptography also plays a role in protecting digital wallets, so your Apple Pay or your Google Pay, by securing the tokenization process. So if quantum algorithms can break these cryptographic protections, attackers could reverse engineer tokens and recover original card data, obviously jeopardizing the security of mobile payments. So while these are serious concerns to think about fintechs, there are also some areas where we are quite safe from quantum computing for now, as things stand. So symmetric encryption algorithms such as the AES 256 algorithm remains relatively safe from quantum attacks. So there's another algorithm called Grover's algorithm, which can weaken AES by reducing its effective security by half, on a quantum computer. But AES 256 still provides adequate protection, as it will still take a couple of decades to break that algorithm. So, as we said earlier, symmetric encryption is widely used in EMV cards, secure storage in HSMs, transaction level encryption, and so it's a crucial defense against quantum threats for the foreseeable future. So EMV cards, use symmetric encryption and dynamic data authentication, meaning each transaction generates that unique cryptogram. So it makes card cloning nearly impossible. So the use of symmetric encryption in EMV and HSM-based key management keeps payment data safe from quantum threats for now. So to address the vulnerabilities of your asymmetric encryption and RSA and ECC, cryptography experts are developing quantum-resistant methods. So we get latest based cryptography, hash-based cryptography, multivariate quadratic equations. These algorithms are designed to withstand quantum attacks, ensuring continued security for payment systems. So in addition to quantum threats, we're also seeing rapid advancements in current cryptographic practices. So one of the most important developments in recent years has been the adoption of key block formats, such as the ANSI TR31 standard. So just quick, key block encryption ensures that cryptographic keys are securely managed, stored, and transmitted. So the format not only encrypts the key, but also includes some metadata, such as the usage rules, key type, some validity constraints, and it ensures compliance and, importantly, prevents key misuse. So by using key block formats, companies can ensure that their keys are used only for the intended purpose, preventing unauthorized access or substitution. So solutions like P3 are among the first data preparation tools to support this key block encryption. And I think it's since end of 2023, this is a requirement for PCI compliance. So, this highlights the importance of choosing FinTech partners that are constantly evolving and meeting these new industry standards. So how should FinTechs prepare for the future of secure payments? Now, I think as FinTechs, we're kind of at a crossroads. So the payment landscape is changing rapidly and cryptography is evolving alongside it. But how do we prepare for this future? So firstly, I think it's not enough to meet today's standards. You need to anticipate tomorrow's standards. So this means adopting quantum-resistant encryption schemes early, investing in development to support these key block formats and staying on top of emerging cryptographic trends. Regularly engaging with industry bodies like EMV Code, PCI-DSS, NIST. This will help you ensure that you are compliant with the latest standards and prepared for future threats. And also, I think choosing technology partners that have the same outlook on the future of secure cryptography in the payment sector. So, and secondly, I've found that one of the biggest gaps in the payment industry is the lack of cryptography education. Despite its growing importance, many fintech companies struggle to find experts in cryptography and encryption. From my experience, this gap is noticeable across the entire industry. This is not even mentioning the shortage of expertise in the EMV space, which is actually quite shocking since there are more than 13.7 million EMV cards being used every day. So I think to stay competitive, FinTech should not only hire cryptography experts, but also invest in training and education for the teams, encourage employees to pursue certifications, attend conferences, and learn about the latest cryptographic advancements. So by fostering a culture of cryptography excellence, fintechs can better prepare for the evolving threats and the standards ahead. And lastly, I think fintech companies should actively participate in the cryptography community, whether it's through collaborations with academic institutions, industry working groups, or open source projects. This ensures that companies are not just reactive to changes in cryptography, but also part of the conversation that shapes this future. So just to close out, the payment industry is evolving rapidly, whether it's the rise of digital payments, the looming threat of quantum computing, or advancements in cryptographic standards. Fintechs must remain adaptable and proactive. So Advanced Smart Solutions and with PT, we're committed to helping our clients navigate these changes by offering secure, scalable solutions that are ready for the future. So we believe that the key to success lies not only in the technology, but also in building that foundation of cryptography expertise within the industry. So now is the time to invest in talent, stay on top of cryptography trends, and prepare for the quantum future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Willem, for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, that would be all from us. And we would like to thank you again for attending. We hope you enjoyed the conference. Don't forget to follow ProID on LinkedIn, on our website as well, where you can find all upcoming events, so stay tuned. And we would be very happy if you fill the questionnaire. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Stay all safe and goodbye.